The one having an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the overcomer I will give to him to eat out from the tree of life, which is in the paradise of God, Revelation 2:7. Although the Ephesus assembly lost its initial love, understood as love for fellow believers, Christ continues to offer encouragement. The overcomer will be granted access to the tree of life in the paradise of God. The term overcomer does not refer to an action or imply that salvation is achieved through personal effort or perseverance. Rather, it describes an individual who is characterized by having overcome. John employs the same term in 1 John 2:13 to describe the characteristics of maturing Christians. Moderately mature believers, referred to as young men, have learned to overcome the malignantly evil one. Members of the church are considered overcomers because the one who is in them is greater than the one in the world. 1 John 4:4. The overcomer is defined as the individual who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. 1 John 5:5. Therefore, the overcomer is saved. In the early history of the church, there were attempts by unbelievers to infiltrate and introduce destructive heresies. The Ephesus assembly confronted false apostles and those engaged in wrongdoing, Revelation 2:2. They also rejected the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which promoted a division between clergy and laity, Revelation 2:5. Because unbelievers were present among them, the Spirit specifically addresses the saved, identified as the overcomers. Overcomers, revealed as grace believers, will be permitted to eat from the tree of life in the paradise of God. The tree of life was originally located in the Garden of Eden during the time Adam and Eve resided there, Genesis 2:9. Following Adam's transgression and the resulting corruption of his nature, access to the tree of life was prohibited because it would have sustained physical life indefinitely, Genesis 3:22. After the resurrection of Christ, during one of his ascensions, paradise was relocated to the edge of the third heaven, Ephesians 4:8. Paul provides insight into paradise in 2 Corinthians 12, where he recounts his brief encounter with death. Paul was stoned in Lystra, Acts 14:19, and describes the experiences he had during this period. He was caught up to the edge of the third heaven, into the paradise of God, 2 Corinthians 12:2 and 4. Paul also indicates that after death, humans are given a temporary body, 2 Corinthians 12:3. After death, the believer resides in the third heaven in the presence of God, 2 Corinthians 5:8. Since this temporary body is not a resurrected body, it requires sustenance. Therefore, members of this assembly, as well as subsequent assemblies, will be allowed to enter paradise and partake of the tree of life while awaiting the return of the Lord. Thus, the overcomer is defined as the individual who believes that Christ died on behalf of our sins according to the Scriptures, was buried, and rose again on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures, 1 Corinthians 15:3 and 4. Visit www.thechristianlife.org today to explore more grace-filled teachings, Bible studies, and resources that will strengthen your walk in the freedom of Christ